All right, guys, Bullion Bites here, back with part 2 of silver and gold, where to start. On this episode, I'm really going to talk to you about a couple of coins here that have seen kind of a rise and fall in terms of popularity or favor amongst people in kind of the stacking and flipping community. Each of these kind of represents, I want to say, a different era or a different time period in the past, I'm going to say 8 years for coin stacking, where they've been popular or kind of come in and out of popularity. There was a time period where everybody really liked pandas and they were really popular. These came from the Chinese mint. And I want to say it was right around the time they changed from the 1 ounce variation, like this one here, the 1 troy ounce, to the 30 gram type. And it's not to say that they're not popular anymore or they're not worth collecting, but they just seem to be less popular with kind of stackers in the community at large now that they've switched from the 1 ounce type to the 30 gram type. It's still silver, but a lot of the other issues that they've really run into were, people were noticing a lot of fakes coming out of China because it's from China. The mint's there and they can replicate them pretty easily. And the last thing you want to do is get burned with either overpaying for silver or, even worse, buying fake silver. There was a period of time where things like the Somali elephants were really popular series, and I got a couple of those, just like I've gotten a couple of the pandas. It's just those seem to have kind of fallen by the wayside in terms of popularity, in which things in the stacking community, on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, those kinds of places, they've kind of fallen out of popularity, and I don't want to say premiums on them have kind of disappeared in the market, but they're not commanding nearly as much as you would really have hoped if you bought in real heavy into things like this in, let's say, 2016, 2017, 2018 time. I didn't buy a lot into those. I kind of saw the writing on the wall with those getting into them, that if everybody's trying to buy something, it's probably a good time to sell off all your stuff, especially if it's not really something you want to hold, something you're just getting into for maybe to hold it for a couple of years, flip it, get a couple of bucks off of it to kind of get some free silver. Same thing for the sort of Zombuck series. This was the Saint version of that coin. You can see it's got a similar design to the American Silver Eagle there, and we're going to talk about that one in a little bit. But this was a series that came from Provident Metals, and these were actually really popular. I really like these. I think these held their premium pretty well. You just don't see them very often, and that's why the Saint is really the only one that I have from that series. And I think they're interesting coins. It's just a lot of the premium for the early adopted ones sort of all got soaked up by the mint, and nobody wanted to really pay above that. So a lot of them are kind of sitting off the market at this point. They're great coins. There's a lot of really unique ones in there. A lot of them take a sort of zombie themed spin on American coins. It's really interesting. Really like that series. Similarly, the American Silver Eagle, we just talked about it. These are kind of starting to fall by the wayside in the market right now, just because of the stiff premiums we're seeing on these coins. A lot of dealers are buying back for these at like $30, per eagle, which, hey, that sounds great. You're getting, $7, $8, $9 over spot price for, your silver. It sounds like a good deal until you look at the sell price from the same, dealers, and they're asking like $40 a piece for those. So there's, even still, you might be getting, $9 back, but when you go to buy it, you're looking at a, $18 to $20 or 100% premium on the metals that you're buying. And not to say that you can get silver at spot price anywhere right now, but that's like paying 2 for 1, but you're paying 2 and you're only getting 1. The Canadian Maple Leaf, this is another coin that has been pretty popular. I don't think this one's really fallen out of favor with many people. There's just less demand, I think, for Canadian maples than there are for a similar price point for Eagles, at least in the U.S. markets. And when the premiums for, I'm going to say, generic Canadian or generic United Kingdom type bullion, or monarchy featured bullion, for a little bit more, you can go and get yourself something like a semi-numismatic, lunar series, coin that, for the series 2 at least, they're still holding their premiums quite well. A lot of the collectability for that series, in the 1 ounce, the 2 ounce, the half ounce, is still pretty well retained with those. These are, if I was going to recommend you get into a semi-numismatic coin a little bit early, I wouldn't, drop a bunch of money into the lunar series. But if you were planning on getting one for yourself, you might want to look at getting maybe 2 or 3 of the same type, and then holding those for a couple of years, maybe make a couple of bucks on that, and bring the cost of the one you wanted to hold on to for your collection down just a little bit. And then the last one here, looking at the silver bars, those always have a relatively low premium compared to coins. The smallest I would recommend you go on the bars is the 10 ounce. If you can get them for the same price, I would get 2 5-ounce bars if possible. But if you're looking at adding a couple extra bucks per ounce, or add an extra $1 an ounce, going with the 10-ounce bars is really the good route to go. Most people that are stackers or collectors, the 10-ounce bar is a good middle ground weight for something you can throw in a jacket pocket, throw in a backpack. No one's really going to notice it. You're not going to really feel the added weight, but you're going to be carrying an extra $250 with you everywhere you're going in terms of wealth. And that's not to say we should be measuring silver in dollars. Really, we should be measuring it the other way around. But I digress. The other tried and true thing is looking into generic bars. And I know we just talked about these, but if you're not sure what to get, getting 10-ounce generic bars are always a good safe bet. Trade-off you're really going to get is you're not going to get as much when you go to sell back. If you're selling at retail side, to a local coin shop or to an online bullion dealer. If you're selling private sale, you might be able to get a little bit of your premium back because you're, selling to, secondhand, somebody in the marketplace. However, you got to have a good reputation. You got to be considered trustworthy by a lot of other people. And if you don't, if you're not really well known, or you don't have, I'm going to say, some good interactions with other people in the community to really vouch for you, people are either not going to want to buy from you, or they're going to be really skeptical. And a lot of the guys that are on Instagram, YouTube, everything like that, they'll tell you your reputation is worth more than any deal, any silver you can just sell to somebody or buy from somebody. And once it gets burned, it's really, really hard to kind of come back into good grace or into good favor with people in this community. There's a whole bunch of stories about guys that either tried to scam people, tried to just do all kinds of shady stuff behind the scenes, and it comes back to burn them. And the thing about holding precious metals is, if you can have all the metals and all the money in the world, if nobody wants to buy from you, it's a voluntary transaction. If nobody wants to buy or sell from you, then at that point all you've got is paper dollars or shiny rocks. And you can't eat silver, but you can't eat dollar bills either. So if you don't have somebody to exchange them with, they're not really going to be working for you. They're just going to be taking up space. I went off on a total tangent there at the end, guys. Forgive me for that one. But getting back to the heart of the video, there's a couple different coins here that you have kind of risen and fallen over the years. None of these are bad choices. I wouldn't say any of them right now are great choices either. You're probably going to be at a good boat looking at either generic 1-ounce rounds right now or 10-ounce bars. But buy what you want. It's your money. You do with it what you want. If you got any questions, leave them in the comments below, and I will see you on the next one.